let's go into my get over here, Niklas. So Niklas was actually in Finland. This is where this is. I messed that up. Sorry about that. So let's take a look at him. The reason I messed it up is you're going to see right now because he's running the same archetype. Yeah, so he's actually running the same archetype, what we call the Sean Naden archetype. Still a very good archetype, but it's interesting that two players on the same weekends went 4-1 with this, and most other people got smushed. Were they onto something, or did they get lucky? The world may never know. So we have Ghazghkull Thraka, Captain Bagrock, Mazraz Crackbag, not with Wall Banner, but he does have Cunning but Brutal, and he does have the War Boss, but he does have Follow Me Lads. This is what I'm saying. I very much appreciate that in my unit. It could, because your not with Wall Banner 20 boys unit needs to go off on the turn it goes off. Right? When you call that war, when you disembark and you run up the field, you need to get in the charge. You need the enemy to know, if you don't kill me, I will fall back onto your primary objective. I will fall back and charge you, or I will fall back and do a secondary to win me the game. What it does is it means your enemy will reliably have to focus on that mob, which means you understand the next turn what's going to happen. You know where you're going to end up because you reliably move and charge. You know how durable you're going to be because you're going to pop hard as nails and have the 5-up invul, and you're going to know the enemy is going to target that unit because it has Cunning but Brutal. So it means that you actually know what's coming, and as an orc player that matters a lot, so that you can play that straightforward game plan that we have. We have the flash kits because you need them. 3 units of Gretchen. I actually appreciate that. So instead of going for the Beast Boss on Squiggle Store, he's got enhancements, he's got more grots. 2 units of knobs, Scalpel knobs, and he has a unit of Storm Boys on this list. So he dropped the Beast Boss on Squiggle Store, and he said, I'm going to bring more stuff, more units, 2 trucks, and 1 battle wagon. And I'm here for it. Totally see with it, all good with me. One other thing I did see is when another version of Sean Naden's list, when he ran Meganons, and I'm very aware of that. Just want to say that out there. So I do have his list notes as well for the one time he lost. So let's take a look at his matchups. So we have Black Templars, Ironstorm Spearhead. We have High Marshal Hellbrick, the Judiciar, the flesh is weak, so he's a feel no pain. And the Lieutenant with Combi Weapon. 1, 2 Impulsors, Ballistus Dreadnought, Gladiator Reaper, another Gladiator Reaper. 2 units of Sword Brethren, Redemptor Dreadnought, 3 Redemptor Dreadnought, 3 Scout units. So actually a very good list as a whole. Mixing Black Templar with Ironstorm, of course, it's always going to run into the issue of they are going to run out of assets and resources if you have good enough terrain to hide, if you're staging, if you're not overcommitting turn 1 and turn 2. Or if the Black Templar probably doesn't respect you and he just throws himself into you, not understanding that you'll fight on death, that you might actually tank it with Maz, and that the Impulsors, they have a good amount of volume and such, so they can appreciate Master of the Machine aura. But this comes down to a mission play very much so, right? Because the knob with Wall Banner unit, when it does go off, the amount of OC, the amount of damage it can actually put out when you pop Gaz's Art as Nails. I mean, when you pop like Unbridled Carnage, you pop Makari's Wall on the wall. That unit gets an outrageous amount of bucket of dice. That means whatever is on there on the battlefield in the middle, trying to hold the table and stage, is getting utterly annihilated beside the Redemptor Dreadnought, pretty much. And the Sword Brethren are great targets for the 5-man units of knobs with War Boss. So then that becomes more of a trade and an exchange. I go into you, you go into me, I fight on death, you pop my Redemptor truck, but you didn't kill my units inside because I got out on 2 different sides of the truck, and now you have to come get me, or I get to run out and charge you. The Ballistus Dread, in my opinion, doesn't do anything reliable enough, so it's not even a factor that I worry about. It very much comes down to, is he going to give his scouts to you? And if he does, you kill them, so he doesn't have good scoring potential. If he doesn't, then he's going to march up to the field thinking that he can stat test you with his Redemptors. And what happens is, even if you don't kill his unit with all those boys, you can very much tag that objective to 100% own it. And then on the following turn, if he doesn't fully commit and kill you, your unit falls back and charges another objective, maybe stealing his home primary. It is a skill-based game for him to pull that off. Orcs do have the tools to beat them. The mission will always be a factor in a matchup like that. But in my opinion, Space Marines, Black Templars, they run out of steam because they want to combine arms with you. And you're willing to lose a truck, or you're willing to, hang back for a second, draw them out. They fight you, you fight on death, you countercharge, you survive. They don't have enough volume. Once you've countercharged and they've committed, they usually don't have enough stuff left to clear you, and then you can continue the momentum of killing things. As long as you manage your CP correctly as an orc player, I'm telling you, because you need to be smart on Art as Nails, and you need to smart with Unbridled Carnage. You need to be smart on all of those things. So great job, Nicholas. So his second matchup, we have the Death Guard, and this is what he actually lost to. So let's take a look at these poopy gits. We have the Biologist Putrefier, 3 of them, a Death Guard, Chaos Lord, and Terminator armor. So I was like, what the heck's happening here? This is what's happening here. So pretty cheeky, durable little fella. What happens is he has the Living Plague enhancement. So that means this aura becomes bigger. So while an enemy unit is within contagion range of this model, at the end of the turn, roll a d6 on a 4+. The enemy unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. So that just means that he's now projecting mortals quickly across the table much more reliably. He also has Twin Lightning Claws, which is a nice fat 7 attack. Twin Link, so re-rolling. The Foul Blight Spawn, and then 1-2 units of Plague Marines, big ones for the characters, and then 2 small units of Plague Marines, followed by triple Rhinos, a Cultist unit, the Death Shroud Terminator unit for the Death Shroud Chaos Lord that we just talked about. So he's not Death Shroud, he's a Terminator Lord. And then 2 Nurgling units because you love them, and 3 Brigands that are appreciating that contagion aura. Still a very strong list of Death Guard. You can see how he could end up losing to this. The fact that they're getting flamers, they're getting anti-infantry, the fact that they have a good amount of volume, the fact that all of these Plague Marine squads can, let me see if they're going to fight first. They can fight first and throw grenades into you. They're getting critical 5s. It just becomes so overwhelmingly annoying between -1 to hit, and then if they're smart enough to stick a Nurgling unit behind a Death Shroud unit and kind of follow it up the field safely, then you're like, oh, I'm gonna into Terminator Shrouds. Oh, I'm -2 to hit and I'm -1 to wound. Oh, I didn't do anything to you. Game over. So it does come down to how good each player was kind of positioning and setting up. But this is one of those games that you can just straight up mess up because they fought first, or they overwatched you incorrectly, or they popped your truck too early, or there's a bunch of different ways it can go wrong. And as an orc player, you do have to be wise into what they're trying to do, but also perform your mission kind of perfectly because they have every advantage in a lot of ways. When they're like, what, you just want to fight me? Oh, I'll just stand here and tank it, or I'll just fight you first, and then whatever's left, I'll definitely tank it. So it's kind of a little annoying. I seem frustrating for Nicholas in that way. He did lose it. It was right here. You can see the Death Guard player was good, but he put up like 44 more points than him. So hard loss, but Death Guard is definitely tough. That's why you just bring 2 Gargantuan Squiggoths. No, I'm just kidding. And then we have his third matchup, because he did come back with vengeance to win this one, is a Firestorm Assault for Salamanders. Agrax, Agatone. That's the key to the whole list. Oh, no, actually, Vulcan Heastan is the key to the whole list. Agrax is just another named character. Captain with Jump Pack and Thunder Hammer, 2 of those. Librarian Phomos. Blade Guard, Company Heroes, Eradicators. Inceptors with Plasma. 2 Inceptor units with Plasma. Infiltrator, Scout, and then 2 units of veterans with flamers, Vanguard veterans, Land Raider Redeemer, and a Cladius Assassin. Very much, hey, we get +1 damage. So +1 strength when you're within range. We can pop strats, I believe, for dev wounds, and it goes, and then you get the rerolls. You're just putting a booty load of saves onto anybody that gets within range. The issue is you have to get into range of orcs, and if you just mess up with resource allocation, as you're trying to kill, let's say you're just like, I'm going to kill mobs with this, and you overestimate what's going to happen, then you just committed your one-shot nuke, and then orcs just pick you up after that. So I like to see it, love to see it. Next one is Crazy Wolf GT Berserker. So World Eaters are, and was always kind of annoying matchup in my opinion to me, not because it's like hard or because they have like overbearing abilities and everything. It's because we very much want to put other people on the back foot. So to have armies that are like, I auto advance 6 and then I charge you and then I get back up and I fight in death and I have a feel no pain, and you're like, why do you have like all the same rules as me, bro? Relax, right? So but you're doing it first. Stop. It's kind of funny, but they did take a hard nerf, so they're not as overwhelming. It's very much comes down to, can Angron carry this? What I mean by that is, when he goes down, did he get back up? If he did, they have a game and you can run out of resources for killing him. If he doesn't get up on the next turn, then they're out of resources and you pick up the rest of their army. So you have Karn the Betrayer, really good. One of the units between him, Karn the Betrayer, and the Master of Executions, you need to understand that you're going to fight on death against these guys, most likely against the Master of Execution, but Karn fights on death for free. Then we have the Lord of Makadas. Unit of Jackals, they're awesome just because they have sticky objectives in reality. Khorne Zerker, 1 unit. This is the 5-man unit, is always going to be for Karn, and then the 10-man unit's always going to be the Master of Indirect Combat, which is the Master of Execution. But he doesn't have the Berserker Glaive. I was going to point that out. Now he's favored of Khorne. Very interesting that they dropped this so willingly. 1 unit of World Eater Rhino. An 8-bound unit. Just remember, when you're going into the 8-bound units, you can hit them with squigs from behind terrain. You don't see them, like the squig hog bombs, if you really want to. So if you want to dwindle some of these 8-bound units down, just so they're not so missily, you're like, oh, I'll just Euro setting over there, just throw a couple of my bomb squigs through, terrain and just kill 1 or 2 of your guys. Haha. That feels good when it goes off. And these guys are good because they stage a little bit and give like a -1 to, not -1, reroll 1s to wound aura. 2 Exalted 8-bound units, don't underestimate their output. These are one of the few units that could definitely one-shot almost anything on the Orc Index that's not, Squiggoth or mobs with artist nails, I guess. Then we have 2 units of Mauler Fiends. Mauler Fiends are great great, great, great. If you have some kind of brigand to shoot and hurt that unit that they're going to go into so they can actually get their bloodlust ability, which is +2 to charge, that's really good when you come in from reserves with the World Eaters, Mauler Fiends. If you don't, though, then they're just walking up the table, taking up space, trying to auto advance 6 and move into you. Still good. Like turn 1, they can just throw them into you for 155, have a 6 up, feel no pain, hope that you don't kill them fast enough. So I actually think this isn't a bad list at all. You can see he's trying to fit outside the box. It could have been hard, super hard game. It just comes down to did Engrod come to life? Great job to Niklas. And then last but certainly not least, was that another world? Oh, okay. I was like, man, is this another world leaders list? Yeah, another world leaders list. So Anachron and the Lord of Invocata, still no favorite. He doesn't have favorite coin on this one. You can see that. Like he's just going for it. Jackal, 1 unit of 8 bound. A big brick of exalted 8 bound. Okay. I see you get 2 3-man units of exalted 8 bound. Oh, here it is. And then he has only 1 single coin Lord of Skull for that good shooting that they actually lack, right? This is, I mean, not that they would ever do this, but let's say you had a Lord of Skull and then you threw a Mauler Fiend. This is what I mean is you can shoot someone if they don't die, chip them a little bit. Mauler Fiend comes in ingress, and then he just runs up the field and makes a ridiculously easy charge, or even comes in from normal reserves and then just tries to take a charge off that because he gets +2. And then the World Eaters Chaos Spawns really just because they have 4 Feel No Pains. If they can, well, they can get up to a 4 Feel No Pain. So I get what he was trying to do here. I appreciate it. Shout out to the Git. So Niklas pulled out that 4-1. I like to see it. You've seen that he did go into Death Guard, which could be problematic for Orks, and then he had to go into World Eaters, which can go either way into Orks. So great job to Niklas. I appreciate you in Finland. Whoa for Niklas.